things I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. So during the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we're making back out. Yes, I have my doubts. But they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. So roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. And I have my doubts. So I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we're making back up. I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night.
Good evening, watchmen and watchwomen. Wow. Got an interesting message not real long ago from the Father, and I'm a little bit stunned yet from it. So, very interesting. Where do I start? Let me just start, I guess, with any updates. There's really not a whole lot other than everything's looking good with the lettuce, the tomatoes, and I am for sure, without a doubt, starting to see tap roots on onions now. So likely at some point on my days off, I will shoot a short video of what it's looking like. So at this point, I've got 100% germination on the lettuce seeds and 100% germination on the tomato seeds. I planted 2. The lettuce seeds, I planted 3 in each rock wool cube, just hoping I got 1 out of each, but all of them came up. So I'm going to have to, thin them out so there's only 1 per cube. And then on the tomatoes, both of them popped up. I planted 2 just to make sure. And I'm seeing definitely both of those seeds have some good strong taproots going. And then this evening, I did notice there's a good strong taproot on at least 1 of the onions. So now the onions, I only put 1 in each rock wool cube, and the reason being is if some don't germinate, I'm not going to be real upset about it. And the reason why is because I want to say it's like 180 days. I don't have the seeds in here. I want to say it was like either 120 or 180 days. I can't remember which one of the two. Can't remember. But anyway, they're going to take a little while. They're going to take a little while to get done. And so if I don't quite fill all the spots in my rack, so to speak, my little homemade rack, that's fine, because I wouldn't mind offsetting them anyway. That way I don't have a bunch of onions come ready at the same time, and some of them go bad because we don't eat them fast enough. So that's fine. The lettuce, from what I understand, that's going to go pretty quick. So I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait. So that's updates with that stuff. Let's see. I've got an incredible landlord. He gave me a hand today, and that was today, right? Yesterday. Wow. And I already talked about that then, I guess. Oh, no, now I know why I'm thinking about that today, because I did get some more progress done on that system. I don't know where the hell my head went. But anyway, I did get more progress done today on that system. Not completed. I wanted to get it completed, but I might have battery charger issues. I'm not quite sure. So right now we're in a holding pattern, waiting to see if the battery charger kicks back on or not. And so that's the predicament that I'm in right now. The battery charger that I bought, it charges fine, but I guess once it gets fully charged, the whole thing shut down. And I don't see anything anywhere in the manual that describes the entire thing shutting down. When I say that, even the power light is off. There's nothing in the manual that states that. I noticed it earlier today, it was off, and so I messed around with it, unplugged it for a little bit, and in fact I unplugged it, plugged it back in, nothing, got nothing. And I got to messing around with it a little bit, came in, read the manual again or whatever, and I figured, well, I'll try it again. So I went back in there, plugged it back in, and bloop, came right up and started charging, no issue. So I don't know if this is something that's not mentioned in the manual that it does or not. So we'll see. If it kicks back on and continue, starts another charge cycle, that's wonderful. If not, then I got to find an alternative and have to get another charger. That's all there is to it. I've only got one other 12-volt charger, and it's not big enough. The one that I have on it is 5 amp, which is, overkill for what I need. The other one that I have is 2 amp, and I just don't think that's enough. I'm thinking I'm going to need around 4 amps at minimum to be able to keep up with all the different cameras plus the NVR, because the entire system is going to be ran off of that battery, the entire system. And then, of course, the charger will keep the battery topped up, and I should never have to worry about power outage or anything else. That system will run 24/7. and not skip a beat. So we're already at that point. Even if the power went out right now, it's back there running on the battery right now. So that would be a non-issue. It's just a matter of keeping it charged. And of course, should we have a major event to where we lose power for an extended period of time or for as long as I'm left alive, that's no sweat because we've got plenty of solar to be able to keep that battery up. So not an issue, not an issue. And I do know that my solar charge controller will function properly with that system. Both of my little solar charge controllers will. So anyway, that's updates as far as that front. Trying to think if there was anything else before we kind of get into the meat of what I was going to talk to you about. First off, man, this situation with what's going on with the election and potential protest or uprisings or whatever you want to call them, it is not looking really good. It's not. There are people determined to go and participate, and I just don't think it's a real wise idea. I just don't. I think it's the wrong timing. I think the timing is just so way far off, and it's like, why would you confront somebody when they're waiting for you? If it's an important conflict that you need to win, then you want to have the element of surprise. You don't want to walk into a hornet's nest and then try to deal with that. That is tactically stupid. And it almost seems like that's what at least some individuals are determined to do. Now, I don't have any inside intel on any of this. As far as knowing, I don't even know one single person that's actually going. I really don't. And I don't care to be honest. I don't care to. I do not want tied up in that. I absolutely do not want tied up in that. Because that's going to be a mess. And if you've been keeping an eye on what's happened so far up to now with individuals that were involved with the Capitol, they're going after them full force, and I don't know how that's all going to end up, but I certainly wouldn't want to be one of those individuals to have to find out. That's for sure, and that's kind of the biggest part of my advice. But here's the big picture. Here's the big thing, and my biggest concern about these protests. My biggest concern is that it's going to be used for a false flag, and I think that the precedent is there. Everything is there for it. I mean, the recipe is absolutely complete, right? And it's like right now we're in the process of the oven is preheating, and I think that's a pretty good analogy. The oven is preheating right now, and as well as people's tempers and plans and all that stuff. And I just really think it's a recipe for disaster. And I think that the powers that be, will absolutely use whatever they can to their advantage to be able to take our liberties away. And I honestly think that is the motive behind what is going on. I think that this is a major attempt to take our liberties, namely the Second Amendment. That one they're really after, but they're going to be able to, if they succeed, they're going to be able to snag the First Amendment with this as well. Okay? So if we lose the First and Second Amendment, like as in right now, and we are still in preheating oven mode, right? Our oven's not warmed up. We're nowhere ready to bake this cake. Nowhere ready to bake this cake. The American people are so far divided and so unorganized that, it's literally wouldn't stand a chance. We wouldn't. And the one thing that I keep trying to explain to people is this isn't going to be, you've got a lot of people there, strapping on their armor plates and they're grabbing the AR-15s and oiling them up and all that. And, oh, yeah, we're going to go do this. It's not going to be a fair fight. Let me explain something. And I'm just going to use things that you are well aware of exist, all right? We're not even going to go anywhere with things that you may question the existence of, okay? The first moment that a round pops off in one of these federally protected areas, the very first moment that a round kicks off, you know what else is going to blow? People's eardrums. Everywhere within the vicinity of where that happened. Now, why is that? Well, you've already heard of the LRAD, the Long Range Acoustic Device. Now, right now, they just use the LRAD to cause discomfort, okay? And they don't even turn it up very high. They just use it to cause discomfort, to disperse people. They're not really using it for a weapon at this point. They're more using it for a deterrent. But that particular device has a whole hell of a lot more capability than what they've used it here on American soil. I can't say what they've used it for in other places. I have no idea. But here, they've only used it for, a deterrent and dispersal. That's it. But that puppy's got a high, too. And they've been playing on low. And what happens when they turn it on high is your eardrums will literally cease to exist. Okay? Now, there is some speculation that they could actually kill you with that by shoving the tiny ear bones into your brain. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I can't verify that one way or another. I don't know. But this is what I do know. I do know that if you get your eardrums blown out, you are going to instantly lose your balance and fall to the ground and be in so much pain that you ain't going to have any interest in fight. None. And literally happens in the blink of an eye. Now, unless you've got something to counter that, that puts us at a pretty big disadvantage. And that's just the light weaponry that they have, the technological weaponry that they have. A lot of people aren't thinking this through. You do not want to go to them. You do not want to go to them. And I'm not trying to give any advice on insurgency or anything like that. I'm not. All I'm trying to do is explain what position we're in, and it's not a good position. And I'm not saying that we should just lay down and never fight and never do. No, I'm not saying that. Don't misunderstand me. What I'm saying is that we have to be wise about it. We have to be wise about it. We have to study up. I've been studying this stuff. I've been studying this stuff for over a decade. I could sit there and tell you about the microwave weapons and all kinds of different weaponry that they have. Most of it, you'd look at me and go, yeah, you're crazy. No, I'm not. They've got unbelievable technology. They literally can shoot plasma. They have plasma rifles. You look it up. Information's out there. Information's out there on it. They got all kinds of weapons. And a lot of our things that we have to be able to help us or assist us can be rendered inoperable in moments. You guys know I like drones. You think my drones stand a chance if they wanted them out of the air? Not a chance. Not a chance. You think your communications, you think your ham radios will work if they don't want them to? Not a chance. How about GPS? Well, you see, they've been doing GPS testing for the last several years on a different independent system than the GPS that we use. They've been doing testing on a ground-based GPS system. Now, is your TomTom, or your Garmin, is it ground-based? No, of course not. Not the system they're using. Absolutely not. You're not allowed to use that system. And in fact, the system that you are allowed to use, which is a satellite system, you aren't even allowed to use it to its full potential. In fact, it's not even it's not a high resolution, so to speak, for your GPS coordinates. I mean, they give us pretty close, but believe me, even that satellite system gets far more accurate than we're allowed. This ground-based system is even more accurate than the satellite system. And they can shut down the satellite GPS system, and we're screwed. We no longer have GPS, but they do. So you might also think with this, okay, well, big deal. I can read a map. I've got a map. I've prepped for this. Okay, good for you. Does everybody? No. There's a lot of people that don't know how to read maps. There's a lot of people that don't know how to navigate with maps. Yeah. Think just that quick. Snap of a fingers. Now they could disable our communications and, our logistics, so to speak, on a level, the GPS level, in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye, which puts us in a really bad position. So we really need to think about this stuff. We really, really, truly need to think about this stuff. So anyway, let me get to tables are turning. I, like anybody else, have had many moments to where I get discouraged. And, over the last several years, many times I would get discouraged. The Father would tell me, this is just for a time. The tables will turn. This is just for a time. The tables will turn. Now, I've learned to listen, and I can ask questions, but I won't question his word ever, right? I might ask questions about his word, but his actual word I won't question. No. No, ain't gonna happen, because I know what happens when I do. So anyway, I got the message today that it's time for the tables to turn. Now, hold off on cheering, because you have to understand the tables turning for a positive for me is a pretty big negative for most people. So I wouldn't quite cheer just yet. It makes me happy because I've been waiting for this. Most people haven't, and most people aren't ready for it. But without a doubt, that was the word I was getting today, is that the tables are turning now. Which tells me to make sure to let all of you know that you get wrapped up. Get wrapped up on your preps the best you can now. Plain and simple. Because my ideal world isn't even remotely an ideal world for most. And I don't really know how to explain it other than I was built for this, and this is why I'm here. And I've been getting impatient. I've been getting impatient because, man, I'm really getting tired of the same old, same old. And I don't view the world in the same way that many do. The world does not make me happy. Not whatsoever. The world disgusts me. Seeing the father get slapped like he does, and seeing the people, you and I, everybody, get jerked around like we do, does not make me happy. I don't cheer it on. You know, there's a lot of people, they'll pick a side, they'll pick a faction, and they'll cheer it on when their team seems to be winning. I don't. My heart aches every time one or the other side cheers that they're winning. My heart aches because you know who's not winning? Humanity and the Father. That's who's not winning. And we need to kind of focus a little differently as to what our priorities should be. Because I'm telling you, the things of the world should not be our priorities. They should not. And I have spent a lot of time over the past several years trying to push out things of the world and try to not allow myself to get too wrapped up or even too elated about things of the world. You know? There's a lot of things that most people in my life that most people would be much happier about than me. You know what I'm happy about? My lettuce and my onions and my tomatoes are coming up. That's what I'm happy about. Right? I mean, there's a lot of things, though, in our lives that most people would look at and think, well, that's what, you should be happy about that. You should, and don't, we're blessed. We're blessed. And I don't overlook that, and I don't take that for granted. But if it's things of the world, I'm not going to be real focused on it. You know, when I look at those plants, sure, they're in the world, but where do they come from? And so that's why the plants, make me much happier than whatever, right? If I bought a new drone tomorrow, that wouldn't make me that happy. That's a tool. That's a tool that I need to be able to help other people when the time comes. Plain and simple. Right? It's not a toy. Although I hope tomorrow I might get a chance to use it a little bit as a toy, because we're supposed to get some snow tomorrow, and I have been, not a whole lot, but I have been just waiting to be able to get that puppy up in the air and get some snow footage and some snow pictures and stuff. And I might get that chance tomorrow, so I'm really excited about that. It's like I say, we have to keep our priorities in check. And right now, I would, if you're of the mindset, I would definitely be saying lots of prayers. I'd be talking to the Father immensely. And I would also be making sure that all my houses are in order. All of them. Mental, spiritual, physical. Make sure all your houses are in order. Because it's go time. It's go time. I have a feeling what's going to happen coming up with this inauguration, and possibly even before then. I would say there's a fair chance before then. I think what's going to happen is I think there's going to be a false flag. And I don't, I'm not even going to say necessarily whether It's just going to be domestically, whether it's going to be internationally, or both. But I actually have the feeling that the most likely chance is going to be domestic. Domestic. And what my fear is, I mean, you've got, what is being talked about anyway is 20,000 National Guard troops in D.C., okay? Well, I have intel that it doesn't end there. I have intel that it doesn't come close to ending at 20,000 National Guard troops. My intel tells me there's a lot more there, and it's not National Guard. Well, man, a false flag is what it is. And it doesn't have to be a quote-unquote patriot that's there for the right reasons, the patriots that's there for righteous reasons. It doesn't have to be one of those. That's the problem. In a false flag, it wouldn't be one of those. It would be either an agent provocateur, or there wouldn't have to be any provocation at all. It could just, boom, kick off. I really do think that this is going to happen, and it's going to be used as a pretext to take what's left, what little bit's left of our civil liberties. I really do see that. Here, more local to us, we had something going on in the state, and I'm just going to be straight up honest with you, I haven't even looked into it yet. I need to, because I honestly thought it was the opposite of what apparently it is. So we had some crime reform bill stuff in Illinois pass. Now, I saw it in the headlines. I probably even read it in fact, I remember I read it on the headlines here on the show, and I didn't look into it. They're always passing stupid stuff. It's Illinois. And so I figured it was actually something to come down on people even more. Well, apparently I'm wrong. I'm not quite sure what all it entails, but I do know that the chief of police here locally had put out a statement earlier. Apparently, there had been several people calling in, voicing concerns about this. I don't know if it's going to involve defunding or what. I don't know the details yet. I'm not going to sit here and, talk out my butt as if it's fact, because I don't know. I have to look into it yet. But, I don't know what to tell folks. I don't. Public service is kind of one of those things to where if you're a jackass to the public, at some point, oh, wait a minute, here we go, tables turning. At some point, those tables are going to turn. And you're going to have to answer the public. Now, I'm not quite sure that is quite the motivation behind what is going on in the state of Illinois. I highly doubt it, because nothing the government does is ever in our favor. So I doubt that it's going to be any kind of a feather in our cap. I don't know what it's about yet. I am going to look into it, but I don't have a lot of love loss here. I don't. And that's because of my personal interaction, my personal dealings. If you notice, I obviously don't think real high of the chief. Well, that's because he was one of the, he was the main one that was involved in harassing me several years ago. And I've talked about this before in the show. What did I do wrong? Well, I happened to be out in the front yard early in the morning one morning, and I was on the phone talking to somebody, and I observed somebody leaving the house across the street. They were so drunk they had to hold on to the house and then kind of get over to the truck and then hold on to the truck. They were that drunk. They couldn't even walk without holding on to something. And that's no exaggeration. They managed to get into the truck, and when they backed out of the driveway, they backed right into our tenant's car. We rented out the basement. It was set up like its own little apartment. And they hit the tenant's car. And so I immediately went down, knocked on the door, woke the tenant up. It's like 3 a.m. Knocked on the door, woke the tenant up, told them what happened. They called the police, filed a report. I made a statement. And it was crazy because an officer went over there and had hell getting the lady that owned the home to answer the door. And then when she did finally answer the door, oh my God. I mean, I've been an ass before to law enforcement, I'll be honest, but nothing. You know, I try to be a respectable ass, if that makes any sense. But this lady did not. And so I thought, wow. I went in because I thought it was going to get ugly. And I just went in. And anyway, what turned out happened is I wound up getting harassed for 1.5 years after that. And I've got all the documentation, all that to prove it. I still got that stuff because I scanned all the paperwork. And, of course, I've still got the video files and all that. I mean, 1.5 years I dealt with harassment. I kid you not. I'd go out to mow my grass. The police would show up because one of the two neighbors that didn't like me, one of the two would call the police. The one didn't like how I mowed my grass because I mowed it like in like a box or a circle like most people, and he mowed his back and forth. And so he literally would call the police on me every time I mowed my grass because I didn't mow it the way he wanted me to mow it. I'm not kidding you. But here's the problem with that. The police would take the call. That's the problem. Instead of telling the caller, the complainant, look, you really need to stop before we come after you for harassing him. No. They would, well, there was a call. We got to give me a break. No, you don't. When you see it is clear and present harassment, you do not have to take that. You don't. And in fact, you can shut it down at will. And they chose not to. So, I'm sorry, but not a lot of love lost here. And that's just one thing. One thing. I've had others. And so anyway, you know, I'm actually trying to work on forgiveness, believe it or not. And like when I was talking during yesterday's monologue, you know, yeah, that was an olive branch. Instead of them sneaking and sending utility workers to check out what we got going on, maybe that phone call and sitting down at my table here and having a conversation would be a good way to go. But I don't see it happening. There's way too much ego there. Way too much ego. And a lot of lack of knowledge. I'll put it that way. A lot of lack of knowledge. But, you know, as I stated yesterday, I want to help. All my life, that's all I've ever wanted to do was help. And if you look at my life, that's what I've done. I do what I can to help individuals. It's when they take advantage of that or want to bite back that I get nasty. Never mistake kindness for weakness, especially with me. But anyway, so I don't know what's going on with this, but I would venture to say, as I've said all along, folks, you're responsible for your own personal safety and security. Period. And if you live in the state of Illinois and you're concerned about what's going on, look, nothing's changed. You are still responsible for your own personal safety and security. And I've used this scenario 1,000,000 times. If somebody would have bust in my door right now, come in from the street and bust in my door and shoot me, what the hell good is 911 gonna do? Clean up the mess? That's all they can do. So we need to be realistic about this. This whole illusion of security needs to stop. Because you're responsible for your own safety and security, and you're the only one that could prevent a situation like I mentioned from being a negative for you. You're the only one. Right? You are your own first responder. Remember that. That's always the case. First responder isn't somebody that shows up in a uniform. First responder is the people that are on the scene at the time, or the people that show up first at the scene. That is the first responder, whether they've got on a pretty uniform or not. That is the first responder. Right? If I've got my medical, my little EDC medical kit on me, and I come up to an accident or something like that, where somebody's got a severed artery or something like that, and I'm the first person on the scene, I whip out my tourniquet, and I tourniquet their arm. Guess what? I was the first responder. Without a pretty badge, without a cute uniform, I was the first responder. Okay? Or if somebody else is the first person to show up and they can't do any of that because they don't have the equipment on them or they don't know how, but they can call 911, guess what? They're the first responder. Literally, listen to the words. First responder. That would mean the first person to make a response. Yeah, pretty simple. So it doesn't matter whether it's the trash man, it doesn't matter if it's a paramedic, it doesn't matter who it is. Whoever is there first, whoever deals with that situation first is the first responder. Let's stop this hopeless, helpless language that they brainwash us with. This is not a mistake. This is not by accident that they use this terminology. They want you to bow down and surrender all authority to them, and they want you to feel hopeless and helpless, like you can't do anything yourself, that you have to have them, that you are completely dependent on them. Well, I'm telling you, you're not. And the moment that you give that over to them, the moment that you give that power to them, you can kiss your ass goodbye. And that's largely what we're seeing in this nation. That is largely what we're seeing in this nation. And not just in that way. In all ways, unfortunately. In all ways. So I'm telling you right now, prepare to be your own first responder. Prepare to be your own first responder. And especially if you live in Illinois. Again, I don't know the details of this. I've got to dig into it yet. I didn't pay much attention at all to it when the headlines came out. But it changes nothing. It really, for you as an individual, as a citizen, it changes nothing. It really doesn't. You're still responsible for your own safety and security and well-being and your pursuit of happiness. You're responsible for that, nobody else. Right? And if we wouldn't have given up that responsibility as much as we have for as long as we have, the government would not have the power, nor would, big corporations, they would not have the power over us that they do today. We gave up that responsibility for security and convenience. And the thing of it is, it's a false sense of security. Oh, it's a hell of a lot of convenience, but it's a false sense of security. And it's only a convenience while it works. Because when it quits working, especially if you're not prepared to make it work yourself, it's not much of a convenience now, is it? More like a hindrance, which I think is the intent. Gets you complacent, gets you used to, daddy government taking care of everything for you. And then when they rip that carpet out from underneath of you, you're just standing there twiddling your thumbs. Do not be in that position. That's what I'm trying to say is don't allow yourself to be in that position. Do what you need to do now to be able to be your own first responder. And that's whether you live here in Illinois and you're dealing with this criminal reform law or whether you're in Timbuktu. It doesn't matter. It's still the same. It's still the same. There are some things that never change. You are responsible for yourself. That will never, ever, ever change. They may get you to think it has, and they may help you enough to make you think that it's no longer yours. But believe me, in the end, at any time they damn well please, or life demands it, you're going to find out otherwise real quick. So anyway, that's kind of what I had to talk to you about. The Father really put it on my heart today that the tables are turning. And again, that is good news for me. Probably not so much for most people. So my message to you from that message to me is get ready. Make sure your houses are in order. So, anywho, I guess we can get on rolling with the normal stuff, get it out of the way. Oh, yeah, I do got another update. I forgot about it. I do got another update, and this was like an impromptu thing. This was not planned at all, but there is another T-shirt, so it happened. It was totally impromptu. So let me have a sip of tea and a vape, and we'll talk about it. I gotta have the vape. Sat here and yacked for 47 minutes. I'll try not to yawn every 2 seconds tonight when I'm reading headlines. By the way, if you did pray for sleep for me last night, it didn't work. you could try it again if you'd like, but it didn't work last night. My butt was up at 5 o'clock this morning again. Well, not really my butt, my bladder, but I had to listen to my bladder, and then I think I did lay back down with you for a couple of minutes, didn't I? Yeah, I laid back down with you for a little bit, but yeah, laid back down for a little bit, but I think it was just like a couple of minutes, and I was like, yeah, right, and got up and went ahead and came on in. I'm one of those that, well, what's the word again? I can't fall asleep, where you can't fall asleep. Help me out here. Yeah, insomnia. I don't know why I was trying to spell it with, or start it with an A, and that's why I couldn't grab the word. Insomnia. Yeah. And it sucks. And so it takes me a long time to get to sleep the first time. And then if I happen to wake up, yeah, I'm probably not going to fall back asleep. Okay. Let's run through the normal stuff here. We'll get some headlines out of the way. And then, this is my Friday, so we'll be done for the week. I'm looking forward to a weekend. Now, I will keep an eye out on things. And if things get really stupid on my days off, I will go live. And like I say, you can expect a video where I'll be showing you what I've got going on with the lettuce, onions, and tomatoes. And you can expect that at some point on the days off. But if something gets too stupid, I will either make a video or go live or whatever the case is. I'm not just going to leave you guys hanging. Let's see. Okay, let's run through the normal stuff as normal. Let's see, Amazon affiliate, we're at 1237, so I do believe that at least one more item's got to ship, so that should go up a little bit yet. We highly, highly appreciate it. Definitely gonna come in handy this at the end of this month when it comes in, because I gotta get stuff for the plants. My stupid pH meter is broken, and so is I'm out of one of the I think it's pH down, which is the one that I have to use to be able to get the pH level right, based from our water. So yeah, so that kind of sucks. Not a lot. I mean, about $25 worth of stuff to get a cheap pH meter and a bottle of that. But nonetheless, I think if I'm not mistaken, we might have that coming. I don't know. I'd have to look. I don't know. But anyway, thank you very much for that. Like I say, it helps. And that's what I was trying to do, is give you an example of how it helps and where it's likely going to go. So anyway, thank you for that. For those that don't know, we're an Amazon affiliate. There's a link in the description of the videos, as well as at thewatchmannews.com right there. When you click that link, it just takes you to Amazon, but it does so with our special link. And when you make purchases, those items don't cost you anything more, but it gives us a little bit for the sale. All those little bits, as you see, add up. And like I explained, it helps. It does truly help. We did add a shirt today to the Teespring store. Somebody in the DD12 group on Facebook had a shirt that they were, an idea for a shirt that they were interested in. And I'm like, it won't take me too long to whip something up real quick, and I'll whip it up. So I did that. I whipped it up, got it up on Teespring for them, and I don't know if anybody's bought one or not. But anyway, so now I can't say there's only 4 designs. Now there's 5. So there's 5. So what's the new design, man? All right, this is it. They wanted a shirt that said, and I'm going to screw up the order of it, so I'm waiting for it to load. There we go. Somewhere between I don't care, I don't know, and I don't give a fuck. So there you go. There you go. They mentioned that they wanted a shirt like that. So I'm like, yeah, I can do that. I can do that. So anyway, it's there. All kinds of different colors, and if you look, there's all kinds of different, even a fanny pack, if that so suits you. Phone cases. I even did the face mask on this. Where is it? I'm pretty sure I did the face mask. I'm almost positive I did the face mask. Yeah, here it is. Even the face mask. Now, come on. Wouldn't that be cool, walking into your local Walmart? Right? So, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. If you're interested in it, go to thewatchmannews.com. Scroll down on our homepage. Any of these designs here, you click the image, that'll take you over to Teespring, to where you can look at all the different products with that design and make your purchase if you'd like. So, and lastly, the best way to help out is our PayPal donate link, and that's in the description of the videos, as well as at the Watchman News right there in the main menu. You click that, it just takes you to our PayPal donation page. You don't have to have a PayPal account. You can do so as a guest with a debit or a credit card, but it also, I always remind people, it says Transforming Disabilities up top, but it also says Purpose the Watchman News donation. That way you know you're in the right place. There. Done do that. Sip of tea. All right. COVID. So Bing is saying that currently fatal cases, 3,896. Let me refresh, because as we know, a lot of times by the time we get here, it changes. Oh, no, it's the same. 3,896 is what they're saying currently for fatal cases. And as far as yesterday, for new cases, they're saying 203,847 new cases. Fatal cases, they were saying is, make sure I'm on the right one, 3,824. Wait a minute. Oh, it's close to the same number. I was like, wait a minute, is that the same number? Because, you already know that I don't trust these numbers because I see them jump around too much. Okay, here locally, our particular zip code is up to 1,758 total confirmed. I do not remember what that number was yesterday. You'd have to go and watch yesterday's show to see, because I'm still not writing them down. Okay. Now, maybe we can do some headlines, if I don't yawn myself to death. I don't know what the deal is with that, because it's typically when I start reading, and I think it has something to do with that. Because the same thing happens. If I crack open a book, I can sit here right now and crack open a book, and I will start yawning. So when I start reading that book, I will start yawning. Oh, man. Have me a couple vapes here. And let's do this. So I'm pretty sure this news came out right after the show last night. Like, right after the show. I don't think I had this on the show. Parler CEO says site may not recover after catastrophic big tech purge as legal battle with Amazon rages on. So, yeah, they may not be able to get their site back. And I have a suspicion that maybe they weren't able to get their script. They weren't able to download all the data. Well, not necessarily the script, but like the databases. You know, I don't know if Amazon, basically if they're withholding their databases or what. But so, yeah, that's where it's at. But I want to remind people about this quote-unquote hack that happened and about all the user data that was harvested. Man, see, there's this term called honeypot. Yeah, be careful of the honeypots. And I think there's going to be many, many, many honeypots. And I'm not so sure that this wasn't one. So, be careful of that stuff, folks. Be careful. Let's see. Biden says Trump incited Capitol riot and urges the Senate to make room for his agenda amid impeachment drive. Let's see. I do not celebrate or feel pride. Twitter CEO defends Trump's permaban, but admits speech crackdown can destroy open internet. And you notice how he's got hashtag power behind him? You think that's just a by chance thing? I don't. And you watch. I mean, things are going to change heavily. As soon as all this mess is over, if it gets over, all this is going to change. Right? Because they had one clear mission in mind. And you're going to see it's probably going to get real ugly as far as what's allowed. But it will only be allowed from one faction. As we already see happening, it's just going to be much worse. Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene vows to impeach Biden on his first day in office and says she'll be the voice of ignored voters. We're from the news I shared out this morning, by the way. And really, let's not forget, folks, that that's tax dollars that's going to fund this stuff. I mean, now, I'm not opposed to going after Biden because of the alleged involvement with Chinese deals and all of that, or the alleged, pedophilia or any. I'm not against going after any of that, but that's not what this is. Okay, this is just retaliation, and I'm not even so much opposed to the retaliation, but it needs to be retaliation for the right reasons, right? Instead of this just pissing contest back and forth. They need to start locking people up that are involved in these huge, massive pedophile rings and the dealings, the business dealings that essentially hands us right over to other nations. I would rather see him impeached for that stuff, and that might be the excuse. But even if she does pull off the impeachment, and even if he does get impeached, and even if he's convicted of those things, it's still not going to be the punishment deserved. Not even close. WHO fact-finding mission arrives in China's Wuhan to investigate origins of COVID-19. Police station set on fire in Brussels as protest over death of black man following his arrest turns into a riot. Let's see. Maduro unloads on Trump's extremist administration in fiery speech. After months of bashing Russia's Sputnik V vaccine, Western journalists in Moscow line up to be inoculated against COVID-19. The pandemic could lead to a major oil supply crunch. Chinese exports soar despite COVID-19 pandemic and U.S. trade war. And that's concerning. And this is a fact. This isn't like propaganda. This is happening. Russia is also doing a lot better. You know, we're really taking a hit we are really taking a hit. It's concerning. Let's see. Turning back on S-400 program, very problematic. Turkish defense minister says, urging U.S. to consider dialogue. Two WHO experts stuck in Singapore for more antibody tests as rest of team arrive in China's Wuhan for fact-finding mission. Nike to deny donations to Trump-backing GOP lawmakers, jumping on the latest corporate virtue signaling bandwagon. And this stuff is ridiculous, but you know what? I was calling this kind of stuff ridiculous when everybody was picking what donut place or what chicken place or whatever based on you know what? It's none of our business. What a corporation or what a company's, what the owner of it or whatever, what their personal opinions are, in my opinion, their personal opinions are theirs. And I don't think they should be forced to share it. Nor do I think they should be shoving it in everybody's face. I think they should remain their independent opinion, and we shouldn't know about it, and we shouldn't have to know about it. This is ridiculous. You know what makes me decide whether or not I want that chicken sandwich? Whether or not I like the damn chicken sandwich. Period. I don't care anything else about it. Right? People were going absolute crazy over, what was it, Black Rifle coffee or whatever. I don't know. I've never had it. But if I like that coffee, guess what? I'm going to buy that coffee. I'm not going to sit there and play games. And if something that some company does is really that offending to you, then you know what? It's okay if you want to boycott their product. That's fine. That's all part of capitalism. Okay, and that's all a part of choice. And that's fine. I'm not downing anybody for doing that or not doing. I'm just saying I don't get involved in that stuff. To me, that's, I don't want to know. I don't want to know a company or the owner of the company's stance on every little thing. It's none of my business. None of my business. Everybody has a right to privacy. Everybody has a right to privacy, and that includes people's opinions. But, hey, it is what it is. A Republic of Ireland facing major challenge as it records world's highest number of new COVID-19 cases per million. Russian opposition figure Navalny placed on federal wanted list for breaking probation terms and faces over 3 years behind bars. Gold likely to be the money of the future, economist tells RT's Kaiser report, which a lot of us pretty well figured that. Ukrainian allegations of Russian post-Maidan wrongdoing in disputed Crimea to be heard in part by European Court of Human Rights. Man, I'm just trying to butcher that headline. Hungary has agreement for China's Sinopharm vaccine, says minister, despite Brussels' warning against non-EU procurement. Let's see. Where's that? Oh, we've been, the Watchman News has been on YouTube since 2014. That's when we started, was 2014. Not sure of the month. I think it was around April-ish or May-ish or something like that. But yeah, 2014. Let's see, it's nothing like what Nazis did. Conservative host Glenn Beck gets roasted for saying big tech is setting up a digital ghetto. What? The hood of the internet, Parents shocked after California elementary school children taught about hierarchy of privilege and critical race theory, says the media. Telegram, what do you want? Besides carrot cake Oreos that we don't have any more of. You're going to have to wait, until after the show, kid. You know this. Yes, thank you. I will let you out as soon as the show's over, baby. I'm going to get huffed. Let's see. Telegram suspends dozens of neo-Nazi channels amid explosive growth in wake of big tech flexing its muscles in the U.S. I'm waiting for the huff. I haven't heard it yet. India's Serum Institute planning to launch COVID-19 vaccine every quarter. If that doesn't sound suspicious. Sputnik 5 takes off, but not for all. Residents in half of Russian regions have no access to COVID-19 vaccine, research reveals. Wild berries ripe for further expansion as Russian e-commerce giant launches sales in Germany. WHO ready to streamline international certification of Russia's Sputnik 5 vaccine, says an official. Past COVID-19 infection grants some immunity for at least 5 months, but people may still transmit the virus, says a UK study. And that's not the first time that we've heard that, even like after getting the vaccine and stuff like that, you can still be a carrier. You can still transmit it. A Russian prison service obliged to detain Navalny when he returns to country as opposition figure packs bags for the flight home. So he already knows that as soon as he enters the country, that he's going to be taken into custody. So maybe, the only thing I can think of is maybe it's weighing on his heart too much to be away from home, That's got to be a hard thing to do. Like what Assange did, what, Edward Snowden did. That's got to be a hard call. That's got to be a real hard call. Russia's Nord Stream 2 is part of a reliable gas supply system for Europe for years to come, says a German MP. China says George Floyd cannot even breathe freely as it blasts U.S. over Uyghur Muslims. Is it Uyghur? Forced labor claims. Now, wait a minute. China is saying this? Turkey starts rollout of Sinovac's COVID-19 vaccine to health workers, inoculating more than 160,000 in a day. U.S. unemployment claims jump to 965,000 as virus takes toll. Fire destroys homes, displaces thousands in UN Rohingya refugee camp in Bangladesh. And I'm sure I butchered that name completely. Drones are in the news. French privacy watchdog slams authorities for using drones to enforce COVID-19 rules and curfews. Now, we've heard about this before, back during the spring when it made its first round through. Then we were hearing about them using drones for these purposes then, too. Murray misery, COVID chaos already for... Wait a minute. Sports? Wow, I must have been... I normally don't share anything sports. Activists demand clarification as conflicting information emerges over UK vaccine passports. I must have saw the COVID stuff and that I shared it out. Let's see. That's one. You got me for one yawn. No new side effects detected in Sputnik 5 vaccine recipients as Russia ramps up vaccinations. Red Cross fears U.S. adding Yemen's Houthis to terrorist list will have a chilling effect on humanitarian aid. A nuclear blast in cyberspace, Russia warns of dire consequences for democratic values over Trump's social media ban. Like it or not, U.S. no longer holding world in its palm. China is, says Professor Richard Wolff to RT's Boom Bust. And they're basically talking about the economy and the different economies and where each country is. And he's right. I mean, we have to be smart enough to look at the truth. And China's economy right now is booming. I mean, booming. And ours isn't. Ours is going the exact opposite direction. It's not a good position. Absolutely not a good position for multiple reasons. Not only for us as citizens of this country, but also because typically what happens when we're in this type of a position is we go to war. And it's typically a world war. And that's what we're looking at. Both Armenia and Azerbaijan deliberately launched indiscriminate attacks on civilians during the Nagorno-Karabakh war, says the Amnesty report. London mayor hugely concerned that the capital isn't getting its fair share of COVID-19 vaccines. And for some reason, that really doesn't surprise me a whole lot. Not the idea of that not getting their fair share, but that the mayor is crying and whining. That is not what's surprising to me. Hungary to slaughter 101,000 hens after bird flu outbreak at single farm. I mean, ever since this guy's been in, he's been like crying and whining about something. Andrew Yang announces $1 billion universal basic income and TikTok hype houses in his bid to become New York City mayor. What in the hell is a TikTok hype house? I'm not sure I even want to know. Russia prohibits clinics from offering COVID-19 Pfizer vaccine after foreign-owned company found selling injections near Moscow. Amid fears of second Chernobyl, Lithuania launches campaign to block energy exports from new Belarusian nuclear plant. Now, how is that exactly really going to stop another Chernobyl? Lame excuse, dude. Poland slams social media deplatforming of Trump as government readies anti-censorship law. I mean, if the nuclear plant's running, backing up a little bit, if it's running, does it really matter whether X country is getting power from it or not? Either it's going to melt, either she's going to blow Captain or she's not, right? Let's see. Delta puts pro-Trump customers who yelled at Mitt Romney and Lindsey Graham on no-fly list. Yes. I covered this story the other day, yesterday or day before or whatnot, and yeah, those people got put on a no-fly list over that, which I thought was reserved for terrorists. And I'm not saying that it's okay for what their actions were, but I think that the consequences of those actions, yeah, I don't think that was meant for that kind of stuff. And this is why, folks, we cannot give them power, because it doesn't matter whether that power was given when your favorite team was in control or not, because at some point, here we go again, that table's going to turn at some point, and that power is going to be used against you. So the whole thing is, don't give them the power to begin with, even if it makes you feel warm and fuzzy for the moment. Correction of the day, CNN says Congressman fled office with a crowbar amid Capitol riot, but clarifies it was actually an energy bar. Not much difference, right? Energy bar, crowbar, not much difference. New York attorney, well, they probably taste the same. New York Attorney General sues New York Police Department over Floyd protest response, and there's going to be a little more detailed headline about this coming up. 1 dead and 7 injured in explosion at automotive plant in Tianjin, China, or Tianjin, and I probably still messed it up. Paris police investigating alleged black supremacist bomb maker who blew up a flat, which is a home, injuring himself and one other. Or like an apartment or something. I think, isn't a flat like a studio apartment, I think? I think a flat is what we would consider a studio apartment here in the U.S. Now no, I'm kidding. UK bans all arrivals from Portugal and South America after discovery of Brazil COVID-19 variant. We are not at war. Roe wages over controversial plan to replace Russian national anthem with folk-based military song Katyusha. And I probably butchered how that's said, but yeah. And I'm concerned that we're going to have the same stuff here. I have a feeling that they're going to want to replace our national anthem and the flag and the whole 9 yards. You watch. If we don't have some big SHTF before they get to it, it's coming. Far eastern Russian island Sakhalin to introduce mask exemption for those inoculated against COVID-19, a regional head reveals. Now, there's so many different reports coming out about how, just because you had a vaccination or just because you had already had COVID-19 and have the antibodies in your system for it, that you can still spread it. So it makes no sense, but hey. Let's see. Belarusian authorities seek to give journalists a 3-year jail term for alleged role in protests against embattled leader Lukashenko. And how come every time that his name is said in an article, it has to include the words embattled leader? I was asking myself that like the other day. Every time. Twitter restores account of Sputnik 5, Russia's coronavirus vaccine, after restricting it without explanation. 12-hour COVID curfews announced for all of France for at least 15 days, the PM says. Pressure on hospitals is high. Home Alone 2, this just absolutely come on. Home Alone 2 star Macaulay Culkin joins the call to remove Trump cameo from the 1992 film. It's a 1992 film. Nobody's watching it anymore. Give it a rest, dude. And now, you're going to have some people that will specifically go out and watch it just to see that Trump's removed. But the majority of, common sense loving people, they won't. Proving my point? Yeah, good point. No, kidding. Proving my point, Ben Shapiro argues against dim cancel culture. Liberals respond by blasting Politico for giving him a platform. But see, this cancel culture is happening from both sides. There is no winning this, right? We both sides, and I say we both, I'm not even on one, but we all have to stop this whole silencing, because silencing is the same thing as stripping the First Amendment, right? So why are we begging for them to take our First Amendment? And it's happening, both sides is doing it, both the left and the right, they're both doing it. Jared and Ivanka barred Secret Service from using their toilets and forcing them to pay $100,000 plus to rent a nearby bathroom, says a report. And I've got mixed feelings on that. I do. Because you know who pays for that, right? You know who pays for that. So that bothers me. That part of it bothers me. The big middle finger to the establishment, that doesn't bother me. Not in a bit. They deserve it. But the taxpayers shouldn't be on the hook for that middle finger. 14 leaders of MS-13 gang indicted on terrorism charges in the U.S., including 3 armed and dangerous men still at large. No, I'm not one of them. Republicans who voted for Trump impeachment expect someone may try to kill us buying body armor, says Congressman. They are doing everything they can to ramp up the fear, aren't they? But at least they backed off the COVID fear thing a little bit, right? For now. Believe me, it'll be back. Trump outlines nuclear future with mini reactors for U.S. military and space programs. I'm not a fan of this idea. For one, we've got the technology to do like fusion and so many other things. Hey, we've got the technology to produce energy from water, right? They stole that shit a long time ago. So, why? Let's see. It's concerning to me. I don't want 1,000 little tiny nukes flying all over the place. Not well, and I think maybe that's what this truly is. By the way, I think if they do this, then that would lead or give reason why other countries would detect all these little nuclear devices traveling around everywhere. And I think it would be a good way to disguise an actual nuclear bomb or missile or whatever. I think, and it's just my opinion, I think that they're wanting to use this for a cover-up, to be able to move those types of weapons and stuff from place to place. Let's see. Not what we were saying. Joe progressives angry as Biden's $1.9 trillion coronavirus plan offers $1,400 instead of $2,000. Now, the dude couldn't even get inaugurated first, and he's already backpedaling, right? At least Trump waited until he got inaugurated before he backpedaled. Obama waited until inauguration before he backpedaled. Hell, Biden just going all at it right off. He's out of the gate before he's out of the gate, Prosecutors demand change to Kyle Rittenhouse's bond deal over booze party with Proud Boys and flashing the OK sign. Can we stop with this OK sign thing? Jeez. Let's see. Feds charge anarchist who appeared on CNN after telling Capitol rioters to burn this shit down. Maybe I shouldn't have had so much excitement in my voice when I said that. New York Attorney General sues NYPD for excessive, brutal, and unlawful treatment of George Floyd protesters. That's the more detail I was telling you about in that headline. And I do see a number 1 up there. Let's see. This is bigger than one account. Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey hints at future crackdowns in leaked video after Trump booted from the site. So, that's it. That is the headlines. I am going to sneak out of here and enjoy my days off. So, I appreciate everybody coming. Of course, Shabbat starts tomorrow, so you won't be seeing me. Unless something goes extremely crazy and you need to see me, you won't see me. So we shall see you on Sunday. So anyway, I hope everybody has a great night, a great weekend. God willing, we'll be back Sunday. Hopefully we don't need to come back before then. God willing, we'll see you then. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And Shabbat Shalom.